Here we are, CAS interview, Tuesday, May 25th. Interviewer,
Happy to be here. I cannot wait to get some enlightening responses about the CAS project.
an NBC News special, as they call it.
Exactly. Shall we kick it off?
Oh, I think I was born ready.
Born ready. All right, here we go. First question. How has CAS improved your understanding, skills, and values?
I'd say as a whole throughout the high school experience, CAS has been obviously it can be a burden at times. There's a lot going on as a full IB student, but I think CAS as a whole has really kind of been a moment where you can step back and think, all right, what's a goal for myself this month? Whether it be decreasing my screen time or increasing like this activity that I can try and send more frequently. I think overall it's worked on skills obviously that I've tried to incorporate and like working on that I probably wouldn't have if it wasn't for having a mandatory CAS proposal. So it's been a burden for sure, but I think in the end it's one of those things where you're beyond glad that you did it throughout high school.
Absolutely. I could not agree more.
Oh yes.
All right. Second question. How have others benefited from your involvement in CAS?
So I think I've had service is definitely I don't know, maybe my lower category out of the three, but I've had one CAS proposal volunteering at the Preble Street Soup Kitchen, and that's obviously it's always an experience where you go in and no matter what you're feeling like bad about in your own life, it's just you go in there and you realize the insane amount of privilege that you have, and you think, wow, like there's really no reason. And I think you always leave feeling more not to gain from other people's sad situations, but you see people who have it. All it takes is like someone saying thank you so much and really complimenting your work there, serving them food, to think, wow, these people like probably have a really hard life. They don't have a home. They're coming in here for food, and hopefully me trying to brighten their day is just adding a little bit of a reason for them to be happy on that given day.
That is so inspirational.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Were there any particular experiences that particularly affected you or that you have learned from?
I think definitely experiences in terms of physical feats I've learned from because they've just been satisfying to take on. But that's more, I'd say that's more like you definitely learn something about yourself, but I'm not sure if how that has been driven by CAS. But I think what you learn, like I may have just done them, but but hey, I think additionally the very service aspects have like say whether it be picking up trash on the road, like you you just I feel like you just learn how good service feels in the end, and the most happy people are the ones that give the most to others, honestly.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay. What challenges or setbacks did you encounter, and how did you deal with them?
So I think just an overall challenge and setback was staying on top of things. I think it's a big grind throughout a lot of full IB to like be like, rip. It seems like each month just like races by and you're like, what? I need to do another CAS proposal. But in that's tough at times because I think took away from at times the authenticity and true like ability you had to dive in to the CAS experience as a whole. But I think I dealt with them by just really asking myself, all right, what do I want to do this month? And I think each time sometimes it was maybe a stretch, but I think each time there was like, all right, I can put that down. And it was like, in the end, it was always a positive thing, writing it as an experience and fully committing to it.
Couldn't agree more.
Oh, yes.
All right. What leadership positions did you hold?
I mean, I don't know if it was a direct result of CAS. I think just throughout high school, I think one of the bigger leadership positions I held was being a student rep on the school board. That wasn't like, I don't think I did a CAS proposal regarding that, but I definitely could have, I think, just in terms of like participating more at meetings. And I think that leadership position really helped me grow. And yeah, it was a grind at times being like, all right, I need to be at this 3-hour meeting. But in the end, I think it's amazing how many members of the community was like, oh, I love your work on the school board. And it's like, wow, like it just meant a lot when people said that, and I was like, I didn't realize that many people watch the school board meeting. So not directly linked to CAS, but um, I think there's also the captain in cross country. That was a CAS proposal that I had, so that was definitely a engaging leadership position as well.
There you go. All right. How did you actively nurture the success of goals of your activity in each of the areas?
I think I just used it as sort of keeping my mind in tune with that goal throughout the month. It's hard to stay fully focused at times because you have a lot going on as a high school kid. Like that's just the nature of the situation. But or like the time in your life. But I think I, for one, tried to pick a diversity of areas. I think at the start of junior year is very activity based, but then I tried to diversify it out in creativity and like through woodworking, that stuff, which is already a big interest of mine. So I think just choosing things that I knew I was going to, in the end, enjoy and not putting myself through needless drudgery was definitely a big part of how I was able to nurture success throughout this unforgettable experience of all these CAS proposals.
Absolutely. All right, final question.
Last but not least.
Yes. Is there anything you would have done differently? Why?
I think I would have just stayed. It really was never a burden unless you made it a burden, I feel like, because it was like, if you fell behind, it was like, dang, I need to do that. Like, but if I feel like and this is honestly hindsight's 2020 because it's hard to stay on top of things in the moment, but what I would have done hopefully is submit each reflection just very on time and really stayed up to date with that. Who knows if I were to do it over, if I could have done that, because you're lacking from time to time. Everyone is. But I think if I were to tell myself to do one thing differently, I think the diversity of activities I chose, I wouldn't change anything. Probably, I mean, maybe there was more interesting things that I could have seized, but in terms of doing things, I think just staying more on the ball in terms of organization. But hey, overall, I think no matter what you do in a full IB 2 years, you're gonna have some things where you're like, wish I had done that better. But overall, I don't think could have asked for anything more, and is as much of a grind as it could be, and it wasn't even much of a grind, but I think it's definitely an element of full IB that adds to its value as a curriculum.
Absolutely.
So, thanks for everything, Mr. Greenleaf. It was a unforgettable 2 years, and hopefully this interview suffices for both Annalise and I's appreciation for just the work that and the growth that CAS has presented to us. So, signing off.